Evening, a touching memorial sits at a Hamilton roadside tonight after a deadly head-on crash. The accident claimed the lives of both drivers and has left their families and friends wondering what happened. Mark Carcassol has the details.
Yeah, I think they're buying into the fact, though, that because Tsarnaev did have a following during the whole Boston bombing fiasco. There were people holding signs saying "Free Tsarnaev," and young girls were, making Facebook pages. So I mean, obviously,
you don't want.
You don't want that. You don't want to be glorified that way.
Bringing you back with a little bit of the Royals, hot, humid, and hazy. I don't want to give anything away, but let's check in with Rosie to fill you in on the weather. Not looking good.
Okay, let's talk about this pitcher back here in True Blood. I mean, this season's wild, man. And I tell you, I mean, between Magic Mike and True Blood, you're a guy that you don't mind taking your shirt off. And I can't sit there and watch a show without sitting beside my wife, and I got to go like this and just kind of, and I'm sure a lot of people are. I mean, what do you think about that? Just being a sex symbol on a show like this? Do you, being a sex symbol in general?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Shocking detail revealed in the George Zimmerman murder trial. One of the jurors in that trial is saying she thought Zimmerman was guilty of murder but didn't convict him because of the way the law was written. Chris Clackham with the story. Well, this is quite possibly a wife's worst nightmare. She lost her husband this week in a motorcycle crash, and now one pregnant Brampton woman faces the prospect of raising her twins all alone. Peter Kim has this heartbreaking story. Well, to some potentially frustrating news for Toronto commuters, as a major downtown intersection will be closed for the next 3 weeks. The corner of Richmond and York was closed this evening at 8 o'clock so construction crews could work on streetcar tracks. The city suggests using Queen Street and King Street West as alternatives. Pedestrians will still be able to use the sidewalks there, though. And no matter where you are for a walk, the weather should be favorable. Here's Debbie Newford with an early look. Debbie?
Thank you.
Welcome back. Laura Dykin joins us now from Sportsnet 360. And Laura, everybody's talking about the RBC Canadian Open and maybe even the Blue Jays, right?
Yeah, a little bit on the Blue Jays, but yes, we're going to start on the list.
Thanks to social media, I'm sure there's a picture out there for everyone. I'm Rob Malcolm. Thanks for watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow night for the evening news. And the Turf Music Festival gets underway in Toronto, promising big surprises for some rising stars. The news at noon starts now.
She was probably the closest thing you could get to perfect.
Tragedy in Mexico. A Canadian teen dies while on vacation, leaving those who knew her in shock. And the clock is ticking in Egypt as anti-government protests mount. Are we on the cusp of a new crisis?
From the Global Studio.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Our top story today. Keep saving for that new home because buying in Toronto isn't going to get any cheaper.
City Hall has been discussing ways to reduce the land transfer tax, but it appears it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Jackson Proskow now joins us with the details. Hi there, Jackson. Well, friends and family have gathered at a Milton church to say a final farewell to a toddler who died last week after being left alone in a parked car. Senseless and tragic. That's how the priest leading this morning's service described the death of 2-year-old Maximus Huiskens. Police say the toddler passed away from exposure to high temperatures after being left inside the car for hours. He was in the care of his maternal grandmother. No charges have been laid.
And another family is in mourning today after their Mexican vacation ended in tragedy.
They were enjoying a getaway in Cancun when their 16-year-old daughter was struck by a personal watercraft and killed.
Now her family and her friends are trying.
Well, the threat of homegrown terrorism is on the minds of many Canadians today after an alleged terror plot was foiled in British Columbia. A Canadian-born man and woman are both accused of plotting a bomb attack at the BC legislature on Canada Day. John Stuart Nuttall and Amanda Marie Cordy were arrested Monday, the RCMP describing them as self-radicalized.
This young love.
Right. It also seems Amanda Bynes is reversing her opinion of Toronto rap star Drake. Last night, Bynes sent out this tweet. I am in love with someone else who I do not follow on Twitter, who is the most gorgeous man I know, but Drake comes in second. It's a far cry from a tweet she sent out a couple of weeks ago calling Drake, quote, ugly. He called Drake ugly. Can you believe that? All right, it's just the latest flip-flop from the troubled actress when it comes to the Canadian star. No word yet on just who Bynes might be in love with, though.
And in the wake of his...
Well, the polls will soon open and voters will begin to cast their ballots in 5 highly anticipated by-elections across the province. Here in the city, the Liberals hope to take Scarborough-Guildwood with Mitzi Hunter seen as the front-runner. Hunter is running against NDP candidate Adam Giambroni and the PC's Kent Karupa. In Etobicoke Lakeshore, Deputy Mayor Doug Holliday is running for the Conservatives against popular fellow councillor Peter Milchin for the Liberals, a standoff that's caused a bit of tension after Mayor Ford attacked the Liberals and Minister Glenn Murray quickly fought back. 3 other by-elections will take place today in Windsor, Tecumseh, London West, and Ottawa South. Coming up at 7:20, our Queen's Park Bureau Chief Alan Carter will join us to break down everything you need to know about today's by-elections. Big developments are said to be on the horizon in Major League Baseball's ongoing drug scandal. Sources say the league has told the players' union which players will be disciplined for allegedly getting performance-enhancing drugs from a now-defunct clinic in Florida. Some of the game's biggest stars, including the Yankees' Alex Rodriguez and the Blue Jays' very own Melky Cabrera, have been linked to the clinic. In fact, reports say the league is threatening to ban A-Rod from sports for life unless he agrees not to fight the lengthy suspension. All right, let's check in with
telling me that I can dress like Rob Malcolm but on a budget? I love it.
Who says I dress on a budget?
No, that's what I'm saying. I can get the budget version of that. Morning show segment, yo. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take you shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
Good afternoon and welcome to the news at noon.
On today's show, friends and family pay their respects to 18-year-old Sammy Yatim. He was killed by Toronto police on a TTC streetcar.
And an Amber Alert is called off for a missing boy. So what happened to the 9-year-old? The news at noon starts now.
Ready, set.
And since his death, there's been a firestorm of outrage. Today, that anger is being replaced by grief. Lama Nicholas joins us live now from Scarborough, where his funeral is underway. Hi there, Lama. All right, a large-scale search for a missing boy that started last night in Niagara Falls ended happily in Toronto. 9-year-old Jose Luis Resendez was found safe and sound at a downtown hotel just a short time ago. He was allegedly abducted by his mom and uncle at Marineland yesterday. An Amber Alert was issued and a province-wide search was launched. Edison Rojas Castano and Tivise Rojas Castano have been arrested, and police say charges are pending. Jose Luis will be reunited with his dad, who alerted police about his abduction. Well, all 5 seats are currently held by the Liberals, but with recent scandals, have voters had enough?
Our Queen's Park Bureau Chief, Alan Carter, joins us now with the ridings to watch today. Good afternoon, Alan.
All right, Alan Carter with a very good pulse on the by-election madness. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it.
Dream, dream, dream. Whenever I want
Oh my God.
all I have to do is dream, dream,
about
you.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go. So we should start a quartet.
What would we be called?
Well, I
know.
Temptation.
You know what? We
Leslie and Ann, 90 millimeters of rain reported tonight at Pearson Airport. The Don Valley Parkway closed in both directions, north and south, and numerous rescues taking place throughout the city near underpasses and bridges like this. This behind me, just one example of how fast the water quickly rose, catching many drivers off guard. This cell phone video said it all. The rising floodwaters created commuter chaos at the height of rush hour. The Dufferin Bridge was swamped with raw sewage, making it impassable on both ends at King and Atlantic and at King and Sudbury Streets. George Newman's van was in the middle of it all.
Toronto sewage is in my car, and I'm not happy.
How fast did that water rise?
3 minutes, because the sewage blew up, and it was just like a fountain.
He wasn't alone. The downtown core was snarled with traffic as commuters tried to find a way out. Those that couldn't enter and shared familiar stories.
Within a minute, it was like up like towards the windows. And then I just climbed out my window and jumped up on the railing.
Motorists describe what happened here as a chain reaction. They had nowhere to turn.
It was getting kind of deeper and deeper and then like the traffic slowed up, and then a car stalled in front of me, and then all the traffic piled up behind us, and then the sewers just kind of exploded.
We had a flash flood under the bridge. We had 8 vehicles caught unaware that were quickly overwhelmed. Luckily, we had officers on scene.
Pedestrians were also stranded, cut off from both sides of the street, some standing in awe at the sheer power of Mother Nature, others choosing to take unnecessary risks in the raw sewage. And with more rain expected, a warning for anyone still venturing out onto the roads.
If you can't see the road, then it's not suggested that you drive into it. And if you are in water and you realize it's more than a few inches to a foot high, then get out of there and evacuate your vehicles immediately. Leave the vehicles if you have to.
And of course, that's sound advice coming from Toronto Police. If you're near deep water, don't attempt to drive through it. And if you do get stranded in deep water, stay with your vehicle until you are rescued. The cleanup here continues, and many drivers tonight, as you can see behind me, will be left assessing the damage. That's the latest from here in the West End. Let's send it back to you.
All right, Rob Malcolm, thank you.
Let's